You know, going back to that question Chamberlain asked is quite key here, knowing that we're looking for this number of girls and Boko Haram has changed his tactics of causing, terror in our communities using female suicide bombers. One would have thought that by now that the authorities should have been able to take some samples and see if they can match any of the DNAs and see if these are the girls being used by Boko Haram. Are there means by which we can, as a nation, start to look in that direction to see if the girls we're looking out for are not the ones being used by the terror group?
Yes, there's always a starting point to any issue. My take on that is that there should be massive collaboration, inter-service collaboration. The explosive ordnance disposal section has now been adopted by the Nigerian military. We have it in the Air Force, we have the Army, we have the Navy, we have the DSS, we have also in the Civil Defense Corps. So all these bodies should move together in the direction of what you are suggesting now, so that anytime there's a blast, they go, they see, and then do analysis. If it's DNA, they can now send the samples abroad if it's necessary. If we don't have DNA, I don't know now whether we have, but I believe that if we don't have it, the world is now a global village. First, they can do the analysis and then forward the report. But more than ever before, joint services collaboration in that sphere is very important.
How much is the police doing in this fight against insurgency?
Oh, the police doing its best with the limited manpower. We have about close to 370,000 policemen, policing over 170 or 180 million Nigerians. So we cannot fix a policeman to a Nigerian. And at the same time, we cannot have enough policemen to police Lagos State, for instance. So what the IG has decided to do is to plead with the government so that there will be massive recruitment. Massive recruitment of rank and file officer corps, so that they can show up from 350,000 to about 400, 500. Because the United Nations paradigm is one policeman to 400 people. So we should try to bridge it and be able to do better.
Okay, now one other area that is a bit sensitive this time around is the fact that, following along the lines of the fact that females are being used, quite a number of people are now saying that people, well, what has happened is that the security agencies are now beginning to get a little more vigilant, especially with women, and especially women dressed in hijab and religious clothing, which will seem to be causing some friction. Only yesterday it was reported that some Muslims were taking exception to the fact that it would seem that women wearing hijabs are being profiled. Do you think that there's anything that the community leaders, religious leaders can do to ensure that the security agencies, or even security agencies by themselves, can initiate to ensure that people understand why certain things need to be done?
Yes, when I was the Commissioner of Police, what I initiated then was the Traditional Rulers Police Community Relations Committee, so that the police and members of the Traditional Council in every and President General of all communities can meet once in a while, network together, rub minds. They know the bad ones around them. They know what to do. And then the religious organizations, too, have a role to play. While the religious organizations will talk about morality, showing up morality, fear of God, respect for humankind, thou shalt not kill, he who kills by the sword dies by the sword, or stuff like that. But the church has a role to play, the mosque too has a role to play, traditional rulers have a role to play.
Do you think that
it's a collective action? Families too, of upbringing. Where a man has close to 40 children, how do you take care of them? So we must now begin to embrace family planning strategy. And also, mass education, mass literacy programs have to be embraced, where at least every Nigerian should be sure of literacy level to secondary school, if not beyond secondary school. That is very important. I remember in my days, even in the university, the administration of General Gowon, 1975 to 79, when I was an undergraduate, some of us indigenous students had to go to the Nigerian Loans Board, Nigerian Students Loans Board, Nigerian Students Loans Board, to go and obtain loan from the loans board to go to school. But those things are moribund now, they're not there. They should reintroduce them so that people will not hold on or latch on to lack of funds to remain illiterate. The more literate the society, the more empowered the society. The more literate the society, the more people begin to see that you cannot die for a cause you cannot benefit from.
Do you think that security agencies should have consulted religious leaders before they embarked on that type of exercise, at least to secure their buy-in and secure the buy-in of their members as well?
Yes, that's why I told you that we call a meeting of bishops, pastors, imams, clerics, meeting together with traditional rulers to form a core of, will I call it a social group of people who will now go back and spread the message of children keeping off crime to the grassroots. Because it's about grassroots, like we said, and the policemen themselves, who will now be moved to their areas of geopolitical environment where they can culturally interact with their people, will help in deepening areas of friction between the public and the police.
Can we avoid, just one more, can we avoid profiling in a situation like this? You know,
no, you cannot.
We cannot avoid profiling.
Because if you see something happening consistently, then you have to go and attack it. It's just for a little while. Until the situation stabilizes, then profiling will stop. Because profiling, yes, anybody, if you travel abroad, they profile everybody. Nobody cares. You must get into the machine and be profiled. So we must submit ourselves to profiling if we are to solve this problem.
Generally speaking, and in closing too, what should we look out for to prevent this kind of scenario? Because most of these bombs are usually IEDs.
Yes, first of all, every landlord, school teacher, members of the society generally should be on the lookout for those who dwell with them, what they do for a living, what they do. When you see somebody coming in with battery, charged battery, cylinder, cortex, some straps of explosive, report to the police. Because these things are configured not in the moon or the stars or in Pluto, but in residences. But where people live.
The police, if it has to do with batteries, they may get a lot of cases for inverters.
No, but
they shouldn't get weary.
There's a way you take a battery into your own domain, your house. What are you doing with it? And with chemicals. What are you doing with chemicals at home? Reagents, ammonium nitrate. People even use them.
People going to recognize.
Yes.
Well, if they're in a jerry can, I doubt if I'll recognize that those are chemicals.
If somebody is carrying a jerry can into a place where people are cohabiting with you, oh boy, what are you carrying there? What is that? I'm interested. What it concerns you. If it says what concerns you there, it says it concerns me because of what is happening now. Well, everybody has to have a prying and profiling idea. We'll now watch out more than ever before. Then I believe that government should, more than ever before, begin the reconciliation and rehabilitation of all those places where people have been displaced. So that they begin to reconstruct.
I know Nigerians are willing to share information, just the protection of the whistleblowers, always the fear there.
The fear will be through social mobilization, police mobilization, National Orientation Agency mobilization, and then people begin to talk about, in the school system, citizens' rights and obligation. Yes.
Well, the good thing is that, if I remember properly, the president, I think it took particular interest in that Whistleblower Protection Act that was part of the many bills passed by the 7th National Assembly. Even the IG himself, too, saying they're working on that information volunteering procedure with Nigerian police and the public. So we'll wait and see how that eventually plays itself out. But thank you for coming on this morning, retired AIG Chris Olakwe, former Commissioner of Police in Plateau State, and also former Commissioner of Police Anti-Bomb Squad. We'll be back after the break. Don't go away.